My name is Mark Bainbridge. I'm a bullion dealer from Melbourne in Victoria. I've been in the business for about 10 years. In 2014, we had a meeting in Germany with the Perth Mint, and they wanted to know what sort of ideas we had for next year. And being 2015, Back to the Future kind of became the germ of an idea that turned into one of the most successful products that Perth Mint have ever made. At the time, I wanted to make a really large, 1 kilogram sized DeLorean from Back to the Future, but the difficulty of doing that just really limited us into what we could do. So we only ended up doing a 1 ounce silver coin in a big plastic car. So what I didn't know was out in Box Hill at the time, there was a sculptor by the name of Adrian Ward, and he was doing exactly what it was that I wanted Perth Mint to do. And it wasn't until one day where he came into our bullion shop and wanted to buy some silver for his project that the two pieces fit together. And I just said, look, if you can build this car, I'll give you as much silver as you want.
So some of the significant pieces we ended up making was the DeLorean car and various other pieces, including a book, a computer mouse, and then we went in on making a basketball boot. It was actually his basketball boot from I think the final year of the basketball team with his son. And the boot was pretty much old and worn out, which got me completely excited because nothing makes me happier than turning rubbish into gold and silver. And so we embarked on this project to create a silver Jordan boot at 24 kilos of silver. And it absolutely represents the largest silver sculpture in all the world. So Mark brought Aidan into the project, and Aidan brought a whole new, fresh influence into what we were doing.
I was attracted to Adrian because he was an outlier. He didn't fit in, he was a real artist, and to say he had a passion for silver doesn't really say it. He was obsessed by it. And I can relate to that. I've been touched by silver and its antiquity for a long time. So what started to emerge from our conversations was that Adrian had a vision to make big pieces of art out of silver, and big by 10 kilograms plus. And I've learned over the years that pure silver is a really difficult metal to work with. But Adrian was determined. So I thought, wow, let's give it a go. That sounds like a really worthwhile project.
So it was clear to me that Adrian had a similar understanding about the corruption of money that I did. And it was clear to me that he was capable of doing much more than what we've done so far. So we wanted to go bigger, like really big.
After the global financial meltdown, it really felt like there was no reality. $1 trillion to bail out banks was a destruction of the real value in the world. The way I saw it was, not only are they turning the financial system into rubbish, but people's understanding of value was being eroded and destroyed. And I started making a lot of pieces basically talking about this idea.
After a period of trial and error, we did try quite a few casts that didn't work. Adrian suggested we look at Rodin's Thinker, and he had a new idea on a process that could deliver.
So one of my greatest influences has been Rodin, and particularly his work with the Thinker, which was part of the gates of hell. To me, it represented the divine father, the physical strength of the man, the power of the man. And yet what I've done with this sculpture is to actually disempower him.
We wanted to show the rest of the world that how corrupt our monetary system has become. We wanted to be able to indicate that there are other options out there. The money we use isn't real money. Only gold and silver is money. So let's build a sculpture that shows the truth about money.
What I've done is I've taken the Thinker, which originally was put on the doors of hell, and I've put him on a wad of cash on a pedestal, and I've changed the position of his hands, and he's holding a mobile phone that's in solid gold. He's an incredibly powerful looking physical figure, and he's got all this money. And yet at the same time, he's completely demasculated, because although he's got this physical power and his perception of wealth, he also understands that he is at the whim of powers way out of his control.
Now, the thinker is a tormented human being. He was when Rodin created him, and indeed Adrian is built on that. Like, what would he be tormented by today? And when we looked at it, the money situation, the fiat money, the fact that central banks around the world are just creating money out of nothing, creating quadrillions in debt. So if you notice, Adrian added 3 wads of cash. The message that's there is that the thinker is despairing at the fact that his money is worthless, which speaks of the debt levels on the planet. The money is worthless and it is going to go badly. The second addition to the piece is a gold mobile phone. And again, what has the thinker perplexed is the rate of technology and the degree to which it's making dummies out of us. But not only that, the threat of the 5G technology and the health risks that supposedly are there really has, well, Rodin and the thinker concerned, but all of us too.
To create the thinker, we've used the lost wax process, and it's a 6,000-year-old casting approach that's extremely effective, and we've been able to adapt that to gold and silver bullion casting. The first stage was to create the actual form of the thinker, and then once I had that form correct, I was able to make a rubber mould, and from the rubber mould I was able to pour various layers of wax into that mould and then pop it into the freezer to get it hard enough so that I could open up the mould and release the finished thinker form. So once the wax is taken out of the mould, I detail all the different aspects of the form and really refine the piece down to what it's going to look like when it's finished. Then once the sprues are in place, we're able to put it into the ceramic dip, and we do up to 10 coats, even more, depending on how heavy the piece actually is. From there, we take it over to the table with the grit, which is actually crushed brick and a variety of other grits. And we're able to build up those layers, which form a ceramic shell that after a couple of days is able to be put into the kiln and it's ready for firing. The next stage is the actual pouring process. The investment shell is taken out of the kiln and it's moved over to a position where we can pour the silver in. One of the things I've been doing is heating the silver as it's being poured in and continuously heating that so the silver's able to flow up and down into the piece. And this has really been the breakthrough that we've needed to create a really high level of resolution in every cast. Once the piece is cooled to a temperature that we can move it, we take it to the water blaster and we hit it with quite a powerful blast of water. It creates a thermal shock with the heat of the silver and the shell comes off, but it also needs many more levels of sanding through the layers of grit, making sure that all the little dags and things that were involved in the casting process have been cleaned up, and bring it up to a polish that really represents the power and the physical worth of raw silver. What we've been able to do with this process is to refine bullion, silver and gold casting down to a very high level of resolution, and that is a technique that no one else in the world has been able to do, and it's allowed us to make the world's largest silver pieces.
For the potential investor, the thinker represents a unique opportunity. Its intrinsic value is given by the 11 kilograms of solid silver and the ounce of solid gold. It's already been valued at between $80,000 and $100,000. The artist is accomplished and is gaining popularity and publicity daily. And in my view, the thinker is a priceless work of art, and that will be proven over time.